Southeast Asia, a region known for its stunning landscapes, rich cultural heritage, and vibrant communities. However, hidden beneath its natural beauty lies a sobering reality. In recent decades, terrorism has emerged as a pressing concern in this part of the world. Join us as we delve into the complex and multifaceted issue of terrorism in Southeast Asia.
Now, as the focus of terrorism shifts from the Middle East and foreign fighters return to Southeast Asia, Singapore's Defence Minister Ng Eng Hen says the region must expect an increase in terrorist activity. He was speaking after the ASEAN Defence Ministers meeting in Thailand today.
Whether it's a number of people radicalized in individual ASEAN countries, including Singapore, our numbers have gone up, including the number of networks that we have to monitor, including the chatter on internet and other platforms about terrorism sympathizers, as well as likely plots, whether it's in the networks they are formed, whether it's an availability of procurement of weapons for terrorist activities. All this have gone up.
Terrorism, with its destructive force and ideological fervor, has left an indelible mark on this region. From the bustling metropolises to the remote corners of the archipelago, acts of violence have shaken communities and challenged the foundations of peace. But what exactly is terrorism? Why does it happen, and how does it affect the lives of ordinary people? In today's world, the term terrorism is frequently used to describe acts of violence committed against innocent civilians, all in the name of political or ideological purposes. Terrorism is a criminal act that aims to create a state of fear and terror among the public, a specific group, or individuals, and it is always unjustifiable, regardless of any racial, religious, or political beliefs that may be invoked to justify it.
Factor 1. Ideological factor. Southeast Asia, a region renowned for its rich cultural diversity, has unfortunately also witnessed the rise of terrorism. While various factors contribute to this phenomena, one of the key elements lies in the power of ideology. This belief system, often rooted in extremist interpretation of religious, political, or social ideologies, exert a profound influence on those who embrace them. Ideologies play a vital role in shaping the mindset of individuals susceptible to radicalization. They provide a framework through which grievance and frustration can be channeled toward violent action.
Transnational networks play a significant role in terrorism in Southeast Asia, facilitating the flow of ideas, fighters, funding, and resources across the borders. This network enable local extremist groups to establish the connection with the international terrorist organization, gain access to the training, funding, and ideological support, and carry out the coordinated attack. One prominent example of a transnational network in the Southeast Asia is the Abu Sayyaf Group. Based in the southern Philippines, Abu Sayyaf Group has linked to the international terrorist organization, including ISIS. It has engaged in the kidnapping for ransom, maritime piracy, and bombing, using the funds to sustain its activities and expand its network. Abu Sayyaf Group operation extend beyond the Philippines with the connection to militant groups in the Malaysia and Indonesia. The flow of foreign fighters from Southeast Asia to conflict zone, particularly in the Syria and Iraq, has also contributed to the transnational network. Individuals from other countries such as Indonesia, Malaysia, and the Philippines have joined ISIS and the other extremist groups, gained the combat experience, and established the connection with the international terrorists. These fighters pose a significant security threat upon their return. as they can bring back the radical ideology, skill and the network to carry out the attack in their home country. The online realm has further facilitated the formation and the expansion of the transnational network. Social media platform and the messaging application have been used to disseminate the propaganda, recruit the individual and to coordinate the attack. Extremist ideologies can easily reach individuals who may be susceptible to radicalization and providing them with the sense of belonging to a global jihadist movement.
Religion, deeply ingrained in the social fabric of many Southeast Asian nations, has been manipulated by the extremist groups to propagate their violent ideologies. Islam, Buddhism, Hinduism, and Christianity are among the major religions practiced in this region, each with its own peaceful teaching and devoted followers. However, a small but influential minority has twisted the principle of their faith, using them as a justification for acts of terror.
Young people who do not feel maybe sometimes included, or they believe in justice, they see injustice around the world in a vacuum of leadership. ISIS and the likes of ISIS and Boko Haram jump to exploit these young people who are lured to believe that they are fighting for a just cause.
Over the year, Southeast Asia has witnessed various acts of terrorism perpetrated by the extremist groups. Organizations such as Jemaah Islamiyah, Abu Sayyaf Group, and Jamaah Ansharud Daulah have gained notoriety for their activities, leaving a trail of devastation and loss. This group, while not representative of the wider Muslim community, exploit religious grievances and manipulated religious rhetoric to recruit followers and carry out their violence agendas.
Terrorism in Southeast Asia is a complex issue that involves multiple parties with various motives and ideologies. To understand this phenomenon, we must first examine the key players involved. At the forefront of terrorism in Southeast Asia are various extremist or terrorist groups, each with its own agenda and ideology. These groups have been responsible for numerous attacks targeting civilians, religious minorities, and government institutions. While the terrorists plot their destructive acts, governments across Southeast Asia are at the forefront of the battle. They face the daunting task of maintaining security, protecting their citizens, and dismantling these dangerous networks. International governmental organizations such as the United Nations, ASEAN, and Interpol play a crucial role in coordinating efforts to counter terrorism in Southeast Asia. These organizations facilitate information exchange, provide training and resources, and promote regional cooperation. Beyond the direct actors involved, the impact of terrorism reverberates through society. Innocent civilians are the ones who suffer the most, facing the devastating consequences of these acts of violence.
Uli namin. Kasi, ang sakit kasi, yung dito ka nag-aral, tas napamahal ka sa paralan, parang kahit sa ang silog ng paralan, masaya ka.
Case 1, 2002 Bali bombing. Bali, known for its stunning beaches and vibrant culture, was a popular destination for tourists from around the globe. But on the evening of 12 October 2002, paradise turned into a nightmare. 3 bombs were detonated in the heart of Kota, the bustling tourist district, leaving destruction and chaos in their wake.
This is horrendous. I've never seen anything like it. It's huge. It's scary.
More horrific stories and images tonight from Bali.
The worst act of terrorism since September 11th.
And all of a sudden this big orange cloud erupted in the sky, and I've just gone, oh, what's that? I turn around and it's chaos.
Destruction everywhere. Panic all around us.
Let's see the interview from one of the survivors of Bali bombing.
Ada yang bawa tangannya saja. Ini Pak Dokter tangannya, waduh bawa ke kamar mayat lah. Ada yang bawa tas kresek itu. Ini apa ini? Ini kepalanya gitu. Jadi gimana ngerinya gitu.
The Tamrin bombing on January 14, 2016 in the Jakarta, Indonesia brought the reality of terrorism of Southeast Asia. The Tamrin bombing was carried out by a local extremist group linked to the Islamic State of Iraq and Syria, ISIS. The attackers, member of Jama'ah Ansharud Daulah, demonstrate their ability to execute a coordinated attack targeting both a popular Starbucks cafe and a nearby police post in the bustling central business district of Jakarta. The assault began with a suicide bombers detonating the explosive near the Starbucks cafe on Jalan Tamrin. The initial explosion was followed by a fierce shootout between the attackers and the security forces near a police post. Firearms, grenades, and the other weapons were employed during the attack, resulting in the tragic loss of 8 lives, including civilians and foreigners, and leaving the numerous others injured. The Tamrin bombing shocked Indonesia and sent shockwaves throughout the Southeast Asia. It exposed the presence of ISIS-inspired networks in the region and their capability to carry out well-coordinated assaults in the urban centers. The attack raised concern about the potential radicalization of individuals and the danger posed by the homegrown Islamist groups.
In 2017, the city of Marawi in the southern Philippines became the epicenters of a devastating crisis. Armed men affiliated with the ISIS-associated mob group launched a surprise attack on May 23rd, plunging the city into chaos and igniting a bloody conflict with the government forces. This event marked the beginning of what would become known as the Marawi crisis. As the violence escalated, the people of Malawi found themselves caught in the crossfire. With life at stake, an estimated 360,000 individuals, including women and children, fled their home, seeking refuge in nearby municipalities and cities across the country. Their displacement reached staggering proportions, leaving a lasting impact on the affected communities. The Marawi crisis served as a wake-up call, highlighting the challenges of extremist groups and their ability to wreak havoc on communities.
Say the Council can do is the following: support accountability, seek transparency, and have a zero-tolerance policy for human rights violations committed in the context of countering terrorism.
Promoting human rights entails respecting the rule of law, ensuring fair trials, and protecting civil liberties. When combating terrorism, it is crucial to avoid arbitrary arrests, unlawful detentions, and discriminatory practices. Upholding human rights principles reinforces the legitimacy of counter-terrorism actions and strengthens public trust in the authorities. Promoting human rights can help address some of the underlying causes of terrorism. Socioeconomic disparities, political grievances, and marginalization can contribute to the radicalization process. By addressing these root causes and promoting inclusivity, governments can reduce the appeal of extremist ideologies and create an environment that fosters social cohesion and resilience against terrorism. International cooperation plays a vital role in promoting human rights while combating terrorism in Southeast Asia. Sharing best practices, intelligence, and expertise among nations can facilitate the development of effective counter-terrorism strategies that respect human rights. Engaging with civil society organizations, religious leaders, and local communities also promotes a holistic approach to countering violent extremism. Terrorism remains a significant threat in various parts of the world, including Southeast Asia. The region has experienced several instances of terrorist activities, making it crucial for nations to improve counter-terrorism skills in Southeast Asia. Terrorism in Southeast Asia has posed a formidable challenge to regional stability and security. One key recommendation for improving counter-terrorism skills in Southeast Asia is through intergovernmental collaboration. Countries must work together, sharing intelligence, expertise, and resources to identify and neutralize terrorist threats. Strengthening regional alliance and establishing joint task forces can enable faster response times and more efficient information sharing. Investing in training and capacity building is essential. Governments should focus on equipping their security forces and law enforcement agencies with the necessary skills to detect, prevent, and respond to terrorist acts. This includes specialized training in intelligence gathering and counterterrorism tactics and crisis management.
Let's continue on the third recommendation, which is strengthening intelligence sharing. Countries in Southeast Asia should improve their mechanisms for exchanging intelligence in order to speed up the exchange of timely information about potential terrorist activities. Joint counter-terrorism exercises, routine intelligence briefings, and the creation of regional intelligence centers can help achieve this. A key element of preventing terrorism in Southeast Asia is improving intelligence sharing. In order to identify, stop, and address potential terrorist threats, they must improve the exchange of timely and pertinent information among themselves. Effective intelligence sharing enables the quick exchange of knowledge about dubious activities, people, and terrorist networks. This made it possible for them to act quickly and take the necessary precautions. So for the conclusion, maintaining an all-encompassing strategy that incorporates counter-terrorism measures with socio-economic development, education, and community involvement is crucial. In Southeast Asia, efforts to encourage religious tolerance, thwart extremist propaganda, and address underlying grievances can help the region become more resilient to terrorism in the long run. While there has been progress, it will take continued vigilance and cooperation between regional nations as well as with outside partners to combat the ongoing threat of terrorism and guarantee Southeast Asia's safety and security.